When it comes to retirement, people often ask, how do I stack up?
They want to know how they compare to a national average or some of the other families that we work with.
But being retirement ready is less about making comparisons and more about asking the question, do I have enough saved for retirement?
We help you figure that out right now on Retiring Today.
Welcome to Retiring Today. I'm here with Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp. They're both certified financial fiduciaries and certified financial planners, and Sean is a CPA. Okay, guys, you get the privilege of sitting down with people every day. It's a really fun part of your job. You sit down with them, you start talking, getting ready to talk about their retirement vision. But one thing that comes up a lot of times is, how do I stack up? It's kind of a normal human reaction, right? We all do this. How's your bracket doing? What's keeping up with the Joneses? You know, a real familiar phase. So, Sean, you're the one who kind of first brought this concept forward as something, we want to talk about on the TV show. Why do you think people are asking this question, and when does it come up?
The old average question, right? Let's get out and measure. How do I stack up? What does our picture look like? The reason that we get that question so often is because there is so much uncertainty when it comes to planning for retirement. Our families are coming to us, we're meeting with individuals and families, and you guys are looking for confidence and clarity as you approach all these decisions that they're going to be facing, both now in the pre-retirement stage of life and as they continue through their retirement journey.
I think part of the reason we get this question as well is basically throughout their entire accumulation phase, they're in the back of their mind, if they're not having conversations with their friends and coworkers about where you at from a retirement standpoint, here's where I'm at. If they're not having those conversations, they're wondering it throughout their entire accumulation years. And then they get to the pre-retirement phase where retirement's right on that doorstep, and now they're really starting to wonder. So they're sitting in front of us who we have retired hundreds of times, and it's just a natural question. How do I stack up? Where am I at compared to a lot of other families you work with? It's a curiosity point that people have wondered about a very long time, and they feel like that's an opportunity to ask.
Yeah, and you guys obviously both have been doing this for a long time, so you've seen all kinds of portfolios from certain amounts to large amounts to everywhere in between, and I don't suspect that the conversations that you're having with people are, how much do you have in your 401k? I mean, I don't think that those are people that they're having peer-to-peer conversations, so you guys seem like a comfortable place to be like, hey, do I stack up? But Loren, when we first started talking about this, you said, it's not really what they want to know. How do I stack up? There's really another question they want answered.
Most of the time, what you really want to know is it going to be okay? Do you have enough to do what you want to do now for the rest of your life when you know you're not going to have that W-2 income coming in? That's really what they're looking for. Do I have enough? And through the planning process, and this is one of the most rewarding aspects of what it is that we get to do, is we get to take our families from basically point A of retirement planning, they're making that transition, all the way through the course of their retirement, and we get to see them live this retirement vision, their retirement vision, and then help them and guide them along these financial decisions that they have to make. And it's at that point where they learn that the answer to that question, do they have enough? That's kind of a fun point in time for us, because many of the times after our planning, they can visually see that they have enough. And if they don't have enough, that's okay too, because now we can take some specific action steps to help improve their situation. So one day they can answer that question affirmatively that they do have enough.
Yeah, and I assume, like myself anyways, I'd want to know right away, hey, Sean, Loren, do I have enough? And you're going to go, okay, wait a minute, Molly. There's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about before I can say yes or no to you. So let's walk people through a little bit with, Sean, what we do to kind of help people answer that question.
We know we're specialists within this industry. There's a ton of financial advisors out there, and a lot of times individuals are asking us, hey, why you? What's unique about us? And what is unique about us is we very, very much are process driven. With the type of work we do, it's not about transactions, it's not transactional, it's not just let's do a few things. We want to go through our process, we want to develop a relationship with our family. So we've got a 3-step process that we follow. Step 1, or part 1, is really the connect step. Oftentimes it starts with a 15-minute checkup phone call. That's something that any individual out there can go right to our website and schedule time with us to do that anytime. Part of that connect step is also typically that first visit, which is that connection visit. And the goal there is really just to have good conversation with the individuals and families out there. Let's get to know each other better. At that point, the only decision we're looking to make is, do we continue through that process and go to part 2? Part two is that strategy visit. That's where we want to take that conversation a little further. The goal we have there is really to continue to get to know each other a little better. We want to show the individuals that we're meeting with what it looks like to have a retirement plan. We know that this stage of life is new for the individuals that are at that pre-retirement or retirement stage of life. So we want to help you understand what it means to have a retirement plan. At that step, that's where we look to make a decision. Are we the right fit for each other? Do we want to work together? And we only continue through that process as long as both sides say yes. Nobody's here to force a relationship. We want to make sure ultimately that the individuals that we're meeting with are looking for what we do. So if we get to that part of the process and we advance to part three, we say all the time, that's where the fun begins. That's really the planning part of the process and the relationship that we have with our individuals and families.
And part of the fun part of this process for everybody is it is very organic, right? We're not trying to work with everybody. Not everybody has to work with us. We're looking to work with people who understand the value of what a retirement plan brings to the table as you make that transition. And those who are looking for a retirement planner, that's what we're looking for. And then you, of course, are looking for whatever it is that you're looking for. And through that process, organically, we can determine, does this make sense? Does the relationship work? If it doesn't, that's fine. You have more information that you can take to help develop your plan. And if it does make sense, then we continue on to that next step, and you get to really visually see what your retirement looks like.
Okay, let's get down to some of the nuts and bolts. Let's go back to the strategized visit. So let's just say my biggest question, which by the way, we know retarees and pre-retirees have more questions. We haven't got to taxes, healthcare, all that other stuff. But let's just say I want to know if I have enough. Do I need to keep working, Sean? What am I going to need to do to help me decide? What's the intake process look like? Or what all do I need to have organized for that?
The technology that we use is a big part of that, and that's really where the different technology resources we have, that's where we build and manage the retirement plans that we have for our families. So really what that step looks like is if we go through part one and we choose together to go to part two, that's where we're going to ask you to provide as much of your financial information as you can. Obtaining that information allows our team to do the work. The process we've called is it's our retirement plan review. So our team's going to comb through that information and really set us up to have that strategy visit together. And that's where I like to think that it's kind of a rough draft version of the retirement plan that we'll be showing our families at that time. We don't expect to know absolutely everything about them at that stage of the process. Maybe talking for the second or third time. But seeing that rough draft, combing through all that information, we're going to get a good feel for what their plan looks like. And that process is going to help the families obtain the information they need so they know what they need to be thinking about. We get that question a lot. Well, I know what I know, but I have no idea what I don't know. Yeah. And going through that process, Loren, like you said, however far we get through the process, we try to make that as a valuable and as efficient use of the time for the families and individuals that we're meeting with.
And the surveys show that a lot of people say, 60% would say, I give my portfolio a C grade when it comes to how much I've saved. When you sit down with people, are these usually, yes, you have enough, no, you don't, here's what we need to do to get you there? I mean, how do the conversations go?
Yeah, and part of the reason that so many people don't feel confident about the amount of money that they saved is because they don't have that plan in place that they can actually see it. The vast majority of people that come to us looking to retire, they've never had a retirement plan. They have investments, but they don't understand how that's going to play into how much do they need to spend. What are they going to get from Social Security? Do they have a pension? How much is tax? How much erosion is going to come from the taxation on those investments as well? So we have that conversation and we talk about here's where you're at, here's what you're trying to accomplish, here's the best way to get to where you're trying to go. And are there some opportunities for you then to enhance what it is you're trying to do? Here's those opportunities. Here's the things that you're doing really well. Here's what looks really good. And then the opportunities that you have to take advantage of.
So you heard Sean talk about that 15-minute phone call. Here's a little bit more information. We call it a 15-minute complimentary retirement checkup call. You can go to merkleretire.com. So that's your opportunity to spend 15 minutes talking directly with a retirement planner about your specific situation, kind of start that process of connecting with a retirement planner and see if you'd like to move forward, or at least get your questions answered. We'll continue answering the questions about, do I have enough saved for retirement, and how you can figure that out when Retiring Today continues.
Anytime I have even the smallest question about my accounts or what effect the latest tax law might have on my situation, the Merkle Retirement Planning Team is always there and quick to help. I'm so glad they treat you like family. I'm so happy to have such an excellent team working for my future and ensuring I do the best to achieve my financial goals.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. I'm here with Loren Merkle and Sean Honkamp. And a question these two guys get a lot when they sit down with people is, how do I stack up? So we did a little bit of research, and of course there's all kinds of numbers out there, but one kind of consistent number that I found when I was looking was, of the 75% of Americans who've saved for retirement, when they get close to retirement, on average, they have about $220,000 saved up. Okay, so if you want to know how you stack up, maybe that's a number you use, but how do I decide if I stack up well against that?
Yeah, to me that's kind of a nice number, but to me it's also very arbitrary because there's so many other factors that go into retirement and your retirement, and do you have enough for retirement, that number really doesn't mean a whole lot to you. What you're mostly concerned about is based on the retirement resources that you have, Social Security, pension, the investment savings, what kind of lifestyle do you want to have in retirement? And then how much is that lifestyle going to cost you? Not only during the go-go years of retirement, but also the slow-go years, and then the no-go years where you're really not spending a whole lot of money on the things that you want to. You're most likely spending this money on the things you don't want to, and most of the time that's healthcare costs.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine any number, 220, let's just use it again. It's plenty for some people, and for some people it's not enough. And so Sean, what this whole strategized visit helps them do is realize what their number is, what their retirement savings can do for them.
Helps a lot of individuals start seeing the customization of having a retirement plan and the process and what we focus on as specialists. There's so many variables to it. Having a lump sum of a certain amount is one piece of it. Loren mentioned earlier the inflation, tax rates. There's so many variables that need to be thought about and factored in as you develop that entire retirement plan. One of the most fun things we get to do within our overall process is as we work to develop that income plan, it can feel very overwhelming to the families and individuals that we're meeting with. When you have your income plan while you're working, it's fairly simple and easy. You're getting your paycheck every 2 weeks, however often you're getting paid. Not a lot that you need to think about or be addressing on a weekly or periodic basis. You get to retirement stage of life, you've never had to develop an income plan out of all the assets that you've accumulated prior to now, and it's really challenging and can be fearful a little bit, to even get started.
Right.
So much of what we do is so many families are saying, where do I even start as I work to develop an income plan, or let alone the entire comprehensive retirement plan?
And that's one of the pieces of feedback we get all the time. And how many conversations, Sean, do we have on a monthly basis from people who have done the accumulation planning, their entire accumulation phase themselves, and then they get to retirement and they start realizing there's so many more moving parts and it's so much more complex than the accumulation phase, because now the stakes are much higher. And that's why we say when it comes to your retirement, you get one chance to get it right. Most of these decisions you have to make are permanent decisions. There's no redos on a lot of these decisions. You have this finite amount of resources that now you are dependent upon for the rest of your retirement, no matter how long that lasts, whether it's 10 years or 40 years. And so the stakes are high. The decisions that people have to make are significantly different. And that's why even for those who have done the accumulation planning themselves their entire life, then choose to partner with somebody like a retirement planner for the next phase of their life, the retirement phase.
And Loren, to that point, so many of our families and individuals that we work with, they've been through that. They've had that relationship, whether they did it themselves or worked with an advisor, most of the families we end up working with realize they're at that new stage of life. They're looking for more out of the relationship to help them answer so many more of these questions, and they are ready to make that change from that accumulation-focused advisor to a retirement planner.
Okay, so you're going to help me answer the question, do I have enough saved for retirement? I have to imagine at some point we got to figure out how much I'm going to spend in retirement before you can answer the question, and putting that and laying that out for people is really powerful, Loren.
And that's the question we do have to answer, is how much are you going to spend? And that's why with our conversations, we're always starting with what does your retirement lifestyle look like? What do you want to do day to day, month to month with all this free time that you have? Because that's going to help us identify how much is it going to cost to have that retirement lifestyle. And what we have up here, I'm going to go to the board, and I'm going to demonstrate just how you make a little bit of change to your living expenses, what kind of long-term impact that can really have on your retirement. So sometimes we talk about this budget. Molly calls it the B word, the B word of retirement planning.
I don't like budgets.
It's not a lot of fun. And for most people in this phase, the pre-retirement to retirement phase, you haven't had to budget in a significant way for maybe 15 to 20 years. So you're probably not looking forward to that, using that type of verbiage as well. But it can make a difference. You have a particular lifestyle that you want to live. You know that's going to cost something. Let's put pen to paper, try to identify what that cost is going to be, because if we don't, then there's more surprises that can come into your retirement plan. And at this phase of your life, you're looking for consistency, you're looking for confidence. The less surprises equals more confidence. So what we put together up here for you is we have a portfolio, $800,000 starting portfolio at retirement. What we don't have on the board is you have some Social Security income. And this is a married couple, so the married couple has about $4,500 a month of Social Security income. The total spend requirement is going to be $6,000 a month. So the lifestyle is going to cost $6,000 a month. We have $4,500 a month coming from Social Security, so this couple needs $1,500 a month to live on every single month in retirement. We're using an average 5% rate of return on the $800,000 portfolio. That should be a conservative return. Your actual experience might be a little bit different. If you're taking on, depending upon the amount of risk you're taking, it could be higher, it could be lower. We're going to use 5%. So in this scenario, you start out in retirement, $800,000, you're taking $1,500 a month out, and we're 5 years into retirement now, and the $800,000 has grown to $873,000. So the first 5 years of retirement, you're living the lifestyle that you want to live, and 5 years later, you actually have more than what you started with.
And you said $1,500 a month out of this because you've got $4,500 from somewhere else that you're using?
That's exactly right. So $4,500 a month income coming in from Social Security between the married couple.
Okay.
And then that means we need to deliver $1,500 a month from the $800,000 portfolio. Now, if we do that calculation, that's about a 2.2% withdrawal rate of the $800,000. So many of you out there are saying, well, what about this 4% withdrawal rule? Can I take 4% out? Yes, you can, but oftentimes that will end up with a result much later in retirement that's not desired by you. In this scenario, it's 2.2%. One thing we haven't talked about thus far is the impact of inflation. So year one in retirement, you're taking $1,500 a month out, but year two, it's going to cost you more for that same lifestyle experience. So within the plan, we increase your expense need every year with inflation. So at year 15, if we fast forward, from year 5 to year 15, we fast forward, now instead of $873,000, you have $776,000 left of the portfolio. Still not bad, right? You're 15 years into retirement, you're living the lifestyle that you want to, your expenses have increased with inflation. So instead of living on $6,000 a month, year 15, you're actually living on $9,000 a month. But you still have about $4,500 coming from Social Security, so you're taking more out of the portfolio. And we fast forward all the way down to year 30. So you're 30 years into retirement. And by the way, we had this couple age 65. So this couple now, 30 years into retirement, is age 95. You've lived a very fulfilling retirement, lived the lifestyle that you want to, and you still have a little bit left of retirement savings. So again, this is at point of retirement, we're starting with $6,000 a month. Now example B, we've changed nothing except for instead of needing $6,000 a month, now you need $8,000 a month. So instead of taking $1,500 a month, now you're taking $3,500 a month from the $800,000. See how drastic of a difference this is, even only 5 years in. So over here, 5 years in, you had more than what you started with. Here, 5 years in, you have about $650,000. The real difference, though, is once we get closer to that year 15, where now you're almost out of money, and then by year 16, your retirement savings is gone. A drastic difference, a drastic retirement experience, and the only change between this scenario and this scenario is that we started taking out $2,000 a month more in the second scenario. So when we're talking with people about their retirement plan, and that B word, Molly, it's not necessarily fun, but it's a necessary conversation to make sure that they live the A experience versus the B experience.
Okay, so you guys have done this illustrations or similar illustrations with families and individuals, and let's say it does get to 0 in 15 or 20 years. What next? What do you do after that?
Yeah, we're eventually going to see that 0 in a lot of the plans. We don't know how long anybody's going to live, but when we see that 0, or we see at whatever age we might see a 0 or whatever, we hit a certain amount, that doesn't mean it's a bad plan. That's where that customization comes into play as well. We're going to be talking specifically to our individuals, to the families, about your lifestyle plan. And we can talk about your health history, we can talk about all your goals, and then we see what the plan looks like. We know the dollar amounts that we project to have at different ages. That is this part of the process, some of the stages that start to provide our families with that confidence and comfort, so they can look and say, yeah, that feels good. So 15 years into a plan, if a family's hitting 0, maybe they retired at 65, maybe they don't expect to hit 80 because of their health history. And they might look at that and say, no concerns. Whereas the next family, at year 16 or 15, they run out of retirement savings. That might be a big red flag to them, and then now we know that we need to start doing some things.
And that's where the customization is really important in the planning, and why we need to stay away from those general rules of thumb like the 4% withdrawal rule, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense in your retirement plan, because it's your retirement lifestyle. It needs to be your plan. And this is why we do this type of planning early on in retirement, or ideally even before people retire. Because if your retirement lifestyle cost $8,000 a month instead of $6,000, wouldn't that be nice to know the long-term impact prior to making all these decisions? And the more time you have on your side, the more you can properly enhance that scenario, so you can still have the lifestyle that you want and not have to worry about running out of money 15 or 16 years into retirement.
And that ideal timing is, we often talk, if you're within 10 years of retirement, that's the ideal time to maybe reach out to a retirement planner, reach out to our firm, go through that process as long as it makes sense to determine if that's what you're looking for, and then you can be in a better position. It's the old adage, right? The failure of plan is planning to fail. So the sooner we can get that plan in place, the more informed you'll be to make the decisions that are the best fit for you.
We'll talk about a great opportunity to start this plan and learning more about your journey to retirement when Retiring Today continues.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.
The Merkle Retirement Planning Team provides personable and professional expertise unrivaled in this area. They include us in every step of the planning process. The peace of mind provided to us by the Merkle team allows us to fully enjoy this special time of our lives. Instead of feeling snakebit, we feel confident that with the Merkle Retirement Planning Team at our sides, we can navigate any challenge that comes our way.
Merkle Retirement Planning. Your retirement starts here.
Welcome back to Retiring Today. We're talking about how do I stack up in retirement. It's also kind of the same thing. What's the average? Keeping up with the JoJo's. Guys, We say throw it all out because you've been doing this for a long time. You get to sit down with families and individuals, plan retirements, and you guys both know there is no average retirement.
Yeah, throw the averages out. It's not about the national average, the local average. It's not about what your parents did in retirement or how they retired or what your coworkers are doing. This is about you. This is your retirement. This is your lifestyle, and you don't want your retirement to be average. You want your retirement to be all about you, and that's really the reason why a customized plan is so necessary, is because you want your resources to work on your behalf to create your retirement lifestyle.
So a good place to start talking about your resources, your vision, your journey. Do I have enough? Is our Journey to Retirement workshop. Sean, tell people what it's all about.
The goal there is not to provide an average retirement plan. I've yet to have a family come in and say, I just want to hit the average.
Yeah.
Right? So at our Journey to Retirement, it's an opportunity where we have a lot of fun. It's perfect for people that are within that 10 years of retirement or beyond. We go through the 6 parts of your retirement plan. So we're going to talk to you about that lifestyle, why that's so important, why that lifestyle plan feeds into the other 5 components of the plan. So we're going to talk to you about the income plan. How do you develop an income plan? We talked before about the $220,000 average savings. Well, what does that mean? So how do you turn that pile of savings of $220,000 into an income stream that can last throughout your lifetime? We're going to talk about the investment plan. We've got the health care, we've got the legacy plan, and the tax planning. So we're going to talk through a lot of good information. We get a lot of good feedback all the time about they can't believe how much we shared, how much information we're able to provide, and do it in yet such a simplistic manner.
Yeah, and applying kind of these aspects to all types of retirements can really help people get to their retirement vision.
Most definitely. It doesn't matter whether you're married or you're single or you're divorced or you're widowed or a widower, or if you want to spend $2,000 a month or $20,000 a month, whatever your situation is, these strategies that we talk about are very applicable, and you can take some actionable steps away from that journey to help improve what it is that you're trying to do to live your best retirement.
Yeah, and guys, people walk away with a lot of great information and a lot of stuff to start talking about, stuff to start thinking about. Okay, so Journey to Retirement. The information is on your screen. We have workshops. They're a great complimentary experience for you to start that journey to retirement. We've also got a podcast. It's called Retiring Today. So if you want to get your retirement information on the go, it's a fun, kind of upbeat look at the latest retirement information. We really enjoyed doing the podcast. And of course, we'll continue talking about all of the aspects of retirement on this show. It's Retiring Today, and we thank you for watching.
Biking, boating, relaxation? What's your retirement vision? Learn how to take the money you've worked so hard to save and turn it into the retirement of your dreams during our Journey to Retirement workshop. Like getting ready for a trip, getting to and through retirement takes a roadmap. This workshop is the first step to planning your 20 or 30-year vacation. Go to retirewithmerkle.com to register for our Journey to Retirement workshop this week.